Thanks for staying with us. Now, as the Auditor General delivered that report into the state of municipalities yesterday, there are some serious concerns once again about the state of municipalities. You can see here 41 municipalities out of 257 receiving clean audits. Of course, this is a slight increase, and some have welcomed this particular increase. Now, we've seen 76 qualified audits and 1 outstanding audit, and that is, of course, a part of the problem where some of these documents are not even reaching the AG on time. Now, take Free State, for example. If you look at this particular, province, you can see that there has been no clean audit at all. At the same time, you have municipalities like Maluti-A-Phofung not submitting their 2019-20 financial statements. Now, the Auditor General saying that in this province, there appears to be a tolerance for poor performance. There's also an inaction when it comes to the recommendations that she's making. There's also a lack of strengthening of controls and no accountability. And also, by the date of the report that was in fact tabled, 9 audits had not been completed as municipal managers did not submit their financial statements. Now, 2 of these municipalities that are still outstanding are in the Northern Cape, while 7 are in the Free State. There's also, of course, recurring concerns around the use of consultants and certainly a lot of officials not even going to hold some of those municipal officials to account. So it's clear many municipalities are in trouble. So how can we fix this broken system? Let's go to this conversation with Mohammed Lorgart, SALGA's Municipal Audit Support Director. Thank you so much for your time. It's encouraging on one end to see a slight increase in the number of clean audits. At the same time, it's a worry that 9 audits had not been completed because municipal managers simply did not submit financial statements on time.
Yes, no, thank you so much for the opportunity. Yes, no, definitely. It is a worrying trend for SALGA. And while we welcome the audit outcomes, we also basically have raised concern as well with regards to the actual deterioration, it seems, in terms of governance and in terms of accountability and consequence management in a number of municipalities as well. So yes, there is definitely some green shoots. I mean, there are definitely some municipalities who are performing well, who basically have good governance practices, who practice good financial management as well. But the concerning part is basically the situation where there's also a number of municipalities who seem to get these qualifications, disclaimer audit opinions. And as you alluded to in the beginning, some of these municipalities aren't also able to provide the financial statements on time, as you discussed, the 7 in the Free State and the 2 in the Northern Cape as well. And those are definitely a cause for concern. So
would you say,
from a SALGA perspective,
pardon me, sorry, Mr. Lorgart, would you say that leaders are setting the right kind of tone when it comes to accountability, looking at this particular situation?
I would say not in all cases. So there's definitely pockets of excellence. So there are a number of leaders and there's a number of municipalities. And just to give you an example, there are 7 municipalities throughout the previous term of local government, which started in 2016-17 and ended in the 2020-2021 audit cycle, that continuously got clean audits. And these range from municipalities that are based in urban areas, as well as municipalities based in what we can call somewhat rural areas. A good example is Okashlamba, which is in KwaZulu-Natal. It is somewhat of a rural municipality, but they've consistently attained clean audits. And the reason being, there's a leadership tone at the top, which basically drives the right behavior, which promotes good governance and promotes accountability, etc. On the other side of the coin, there's a number of municipalities who we call perennial disclaimer municipalities. So, despite numerous efforts from SALGA, treasuries, Department of Cooperative Governance, etc., in terms of trying to capacitate them, provide them with support, etc., do not seem to be wanting to change their behavior. And some of these municipalities have continuously been getting poor audit outcomes. And one of the key root causes for that is basically the poor leadership tone that's being set, and also, allowing certain things to go through without practicing the proper accountability and the proper consequence management as well.
Are you also finding that there's also a bit of a skills mismatch as well, because some of the basic functions like record keeping are being done by consultants which are brought in at a late stage, as the Auditor General says, and even some of the CFOs who are supposed to be accounting officers to instill discipline are not even doing this?
Yes, no, most definitely. So I think it's a combination of maybe a couple of things. So the one aspect definitely is it could be a lack of skills in terms of current incumbents in the roles. The other thing could be sometimes also, and it's also unfortunate, but it's something we need to also raise. It's also sometimes a way of looting from a municipality. So you've got a fully capacitated staff function in the finance function, fully capacitated. There's warm bodies in all the roles, but they're still going and hiring consultants. And the question needs to be asked, it's why? You've got people who are competent, who are capable of doing the work that they should be doing, but they are still basically going and hiring certain consultants, etc. And the amounts of money being spent on consultants is also quite significantly high as well. And that's something that SALGA is going to be focusing quite a bit on with our municipalities. And obviously, where there's a need for capacity building, yes, we will assist with capacity building in terms of current incumbents, etc. But where we've identified that basically money was wasted and it was no need to use a consultant, or consultants provided, let's call it inadequate or shoddy workmanship or shoddy work, etc., then we will also engage with the relevant bodies that these consultants belong to ensure that there's also some consequence management on the other side as well. So I think, everybody has to be accountable. Everybody is responsible for ensuring that they provide good service. So I think everybody must also take accountability as well. Yes.
Accountability is one of the things that is quite important here. Do you get a sense that those that need to exercise this oversight and hold those officials to account understand what they're supposed to do? I'll give you an example. The MECs are supposed to table the state of these municipalities in the legislature, and these are supposed to be looked into and look at the health of the municipalities, keep them very closely. Provincial treasuries are supposed to be looking at the health of these municipalities, monitoring them on an ongoing basis. Does everyone who needs to play a role here understand what they need to do?
Okay, so I think the issue of understanding of the role, I think, shouldn't really be a major issue. I think everybody does understand what their roles are. I mean, the accountability cycle and the role players that are involved in the accountability cycle have been doing this for a number of years. So I think the understanding of what needs to be done should be there. I think the bigger challenge is, are we doing what we're supposed to do? And in terms of being effective, in terms of doing the oversight specifically, I think that's where the actual challenge is. So I think, as you've rightly pointed out as well, the issue of providing, so obviously there's monitoring of local government, and then providing support in terms of Section 154 of the Constitution. And obviously, if we find a municipality is not performing, then there's also other remedies in terms of Section 139 of the Constitution, where a provincial government or a national government can actually intervene in a municipality itself. Now, the question that we want to, or the issue that we have been trying to understand as well, is that in terms of the reporting and accountability cycle, municipalities need to report on a monthly basis in terms of how they are performing with regards to financial management. And there should be some sort of an early warning system in terms of the people who are tasked with oversight to oversee the municipalities. The point is, I don't know whether that is being done appropriately enough, because the results that are coming through and has been coming through in the last 5 years in this term has actually shown that there's been a deterioration in terms of the municipalities. And ideally, the early warning system should help us to pick up things much earlier and arrest the deterioration as well.
I was going to go there very briefly for us. Expand on that just, briefly. How do we prevent a situation of things being more of the same the next year when we see these reports again?
Okay, so I think So just very quickly, I think we need the new cohort of councillors who've basically been appointed in different councils after the elections to basically take the bull by the horns, if I might put it that way. The foundation that's been set is in some places quite strong, in other places quite weak. But from our side, together with our stakeholders, Treasury and COPTA, we've already started the ball rolling. So obviously, before they take up office, we do induction with them, we train them, we try and make them understand this is what you should be doing, etc. So I think what's important is for them to ensure that they exercise their accountability and oversight appropriately. The second part, which I think is very, very important to arrest this slide, is to ensure that when there's appointments made in municipalities, the people who are appointed are people who are skilled and competent, because those are the people who are going to be able to ensure that the municipality does the right things as they should be doing.
Skilled
and then lastly,
and competent. Pardon me,
Yes.
Mr. Lorgart, I have to come in there. Apologies. We're out of time, but skilled and competent is a very important point to end off with there, because that is at the heart of some of what we are seeing. That's Mohammed Lorgart, SALGA's Municipal Audit Support Director. Time now for sport. Oli is standing by.
Thank you, Bongiwe. We'll start things off with tennis. 8th seed Karen Khachanov of Russia has advanced to the quarterfinals of the highly open tennis tournament in Germany. Khachanov beat Serbia's 62nd ranked Laszlo Djere 7-6, 6-4 to advance. The Russian will now play Germany's 51st ranked Oscar Otte in the next round of the tournament. Otte caused a slight upset when he beat Georgia's 25th ranked Nicholas Basilashvili 4-6, 6-love, 7-6.
The 27-year-old Djere had an early break in the opening set and led 4-2 after 6 games. A second break of serve in the 7th game saw the Serbian lead 5-2.
Oh, what a return! That was not the worst second serve at all.
But the Russian turned the tables on his opponent. He won 4 consecutive games to take a 6-5 lead. The set went into a tiebreaker, which Khachanov won when Djere's return went wide to go 1 set up.
He won that set, Karen Khachanov.
The 8th seed broke Djere and won his service game to lead 2-love in the second set. Khachanov sealed a 7-6, 6-4 victory in 1 hour 40 minutes with a sublime forehand to march on.
Sailed in brilliant fashion from Khachanov.